Hey Lawn Care Nation, in this video I'm going to talk about accepting credit cards in your lawn care business and what I've learned with the process over the past few years. Coming up. So hey Lawn Care Nation, you're thinking about accepting credit card payments in your lawn care business. So let me share a little bit about what I've learned in my own business accepting credit cards over the past probably 7 or 8 years now of the 12 years that I've been in business. So as that suggests, I didn't start off collecting credit cards as most lawn care businesses start. I would just take cash or check at the end of each and every job. I quickly found though that this was a huge pain in the rear. You always ended up having to chase money down. People would forget to leave money in the designated spot that they would arrange with you. And no matter how good of a customer, with their history in paying was, there was always a point in time where they would then drop off and not pay their bills. Everybody sort of has those financial times. People have those ups and downs, and the lawn care guy is one of the first to get ignored when people are struggling with money. I made the decision then because of just wasting so much time driving back and forth to people's houses, trying to track down, the accounts receivable, the money that was owed to me for all these certain jobs. And I always, in the end, got paid, but it just took so much work of, constant phone calls, constant emails, text messages, and finally in-person visits to their home during the dinner hour and stuff, when I would be able to catch them at home to talk to them face to face. And I just figured, it's just not worth it. It takes too much time to do this. And I started to think about credit cards and how much better that would be. So I adopted a credit card program. I signed up with a bank to be a merchant. And this worked instantly quite well. In the beginning, I didn't make it mandatory for credit cards for my customers. It was sort of an optional thing and mandatory only for those customers that were giving me issues. But over time, I slowly started to increase the acceptance rate of those clients until I did a complete rebrand of my business in 2010, and I decided that's it. We're going full credit card, no more cash, no more checks, no more nothing. So in 2010, I made the full switch over, and I haven't looked back since. For me, what I do is I do a telephone banking type system for merchant cards. So I basically, when I meet a client, I take a physical imprint of their credit card, old style, the carbon copy where you put it in the machine with their credit card and you slide it like, and it imprints a copy of their credit card number. I write on that slip that this is pre-authorization for monthly lawn care, and the customer signs it. Then from then on, at the end of each and every month, I go in, do all the billing, print out the invoices, and then I go and I call up my merchant account, put in my account details, and then I just enter the credit card number and the amount, enter the credit card number and the amount. Now this may seem like it's a crazy amount of work, but when you couple the fact together of accepting credit cards with also monthly billing, it's not that bad. Another thing that I ran into with accepting cash and check was I was making an invoice or a receipt every time I mowed a lawn. And this was another thing that I thought was just insanity, to be sitting there making so much paperwork, and then come tax time, you had all these invoices for each customer. You had an invoice for every single job you did. I quickly switched that really early on to just billing monthly, even with the acceptance of cash or check payments. I still was doing the monthly billing early on. So now when you fast forward to where I'm at now and I'm doing that credit card payments or billing, I only have one invoice for each and every customer. So it's actually not that bad. It doesn't take that long. I bring up the phone. Now, of course, I have options where I can, do an online account, or I can, do a credit card machine and that sort of stuff. But those are also other paid options that you have to pay more for your merchant account to be able to do. For me, the telephone billing is free. So it just made more sense to just do that. Now, here's another tip with credit card payments. I've gone through two different merchant accounts over the course of my time in the lawn care business. The first time was with a really huge, big, well-known merchant company. And what they were doing was they were charging me per transaction. So I had a small fee, whether it was like 30 cents or 50 cents or whatever it was for every time I charged somebody's credit card. Plus, I had to pay a percentage that ranged between 2.5 to 3.5% of the total that I was charging that customer. So there was no real way to sort of gauge in advance how much your credit card fees would be. The other thing that kind of drove me nuts, and here's something for you guys to consider, was that at least here, depending on the credit card, we've all heard about credit card payments. And when you charge your credit card, you collect your points, whatever point reward program you're a part of. So what was happening was, those points and those rewards, whether they're travel miles, hotel miles, whatever it is, those are free for that person using that credit card, but somebody has to pay for those. And who is paying for those is the merchants or the companies that those customers are coming to and shopping to. So what I found with that first merchant company was they were charging me that transaction fee. They were charging me a different amount depending on what credit card was being used. So there were some, regular low point type, low value type credit cards, and I was just getting charged that base sort of 50 cent per transaction. But I had a few that were sort of the high end platinum card, full benefit, full rewards for these clients type cards, and I had no control over whether they were going to use those with me or not. When I'm going to a job and quoting it, you're giving them a price, you're telling them your terms, and then you say that, it's billed monthly to your credit card. You don't know what type of credit card that they're going to give you. And they open their wallet and pull out one of these platinum whatever cards. The transaction fee on that particular card was $10. So every time I charged their credit card, it was $10 plus the 3.5 or 4% of the total bill. So as you can see, if you were just doing, the customer wanted you to do just a small little job for them, and they weren't a regular customer, and they were just paying for a one-time mow or something like that, and they pull out one of these cards, you could be quoting for a $30 lawn mow, and at the end of the job, they pull out a credit card for this one-time service, and you're being charged $10 just to charge their credit card, $30, plus they're getting a percentage of that total $30. You're not really making any money. So I would be very careful when you're signing up for credit cards to be a credit card merchant, to look at those details and make sure that the rate that you get charged for billing your customers doesn't change depending on the type of credit card. Now, of course, the rates may change up and down over time and stuff, but you just don't want the rate to be or the transaction fee or whatever they want to call it to be different depending on the type of credit card. Because like I say, that can be completely counterproductive. And for a small business, at the end of the month, you don't know what you're being charged. You get these bills at the end of the month for your credit card merchant fees, and they're all over the place. And it's very difficult to quote a job not knowing how that customer is going to pay, in advance. So what I ended up doing when I did my full rebrand of my company, I also switched merchant accounts. So I did my homework and I searched a whole bunch of merchant accounts here in Canada, and I found a bank here based in Quebec or the province of Quebec, called Desjardins Bank, and they have a plan for small businesses called the Ready to Go plan, basically. And basically, what it is it's a flat rate system. And they have different tiers. So this starts off at $30 a month, and gives you the ability to charge up to $30,000 on credit cards, up for a year, for $30 each month. So your rate, you always know exactly what you're paying every month. If you go over the $30,000, then it bumps you up to the next tier, which I believe was $70 a month, and then that gives you the ability to bill out $75,000 a year on credit cards. The nice thing about this is it doesn't matter how many transactions you make. You could do one transaction a month. You could do 1,000 transactions a month. You're still only getting charged $30, and you're not getting dinged a percentage of each and every job. So in fact, with this system, the more transactions you do and the more customers that you have paying by credit card, when you do the math, it actually works out to a cheaper rate per transaction that you're paying when you take that $30 a month or $70 a month, depending on the tier, or there's even tiers above that as well. It just keeps going. So when you do the math and you divide it by the amount of customers and all that sort of stuff, the more customers you bill on credit card, the lower that you're paying per customer to offer that service. So for me, it was like, this is a no-brainer. I know exactly fixed cost every month, what I'm being billed for my credit card merchant fee, and it doesn't matter whether the customer wants me to, do a $30 one-time charge on their fancy, platinum reward card. I'm not getting charged anything extra for that. I'm just paying my straight monthly fee. So I would look for something like that. It may not be available outside of Canada. I'm not sure. This is the only bank that I've heard that even offers a flat rate merchant fee system. But also, there's so many other options now available that weren't available at the time, even 7 years ago when I made the switch to this particular system that I'm using. You have the ability to collect credit cards through PayPal. You have those Square readers that you can plug into your phone and actually physically swipe credit cards. There's so many different options out there. The important thing, like I said, is just to do your homework and just do your due diligence to make sure that it's benefiting you in the end. As far as the process of credit cards and all of that, it's completely cleared all the headaches of collecting money. I know that when I do a job, I'm getting paid. I have their credit card on file. I have no issues now working a whole month for a client, and at the end of the month, I just bill their credit card. Customers will ask me to do work now for them, and they don't even ask the price. They just say, just add it to the bill, put it on my credit card. So for me, it's worked fantastically. I don't think I would ever go back to collecting cash or doing checks or anything like that. It was just a pain. Just even if it wasn't, having to chase people down from time to time for money, just the physical time it takes to, have those checks, wait for them to come in the mail, and then have to go to a bank to do deposit. Now you can do the photo deposits on your phone and stuff like that. But it's still just time consuming and stuff like that. I just find the credit card just so much easier to deal with, and knowing that payment method is secure. The other nice thing is that we get occasional jobs from time to time. So I have clients that I just do, say, hedge trimming for once a year. So I have their credit card on file. They've paid for their credit card. Now, once a year they call me up and they're like, can you do the hedge again? And I'll say yes. And they're like, okay, you have our credit card, just bill it to that. And, I go ahead, do the job, and bill their credit card. So for me, it's worked out fantastically. I would recommend it to any small lawn care business. Don't be afraid of being a credit card merchant. Just make sure that you're in a place in your business that you're serious about, that this is your full-time gig. Now, this may be different again in other countries, but with the two merchant accounts that I did sign up for throughout my career as a lawn care business, I found that in both of them here in Canada, at least, for the first time when you're initially signing up, you need to sign a contract for a 3-year initial term. So you have to be, a credit card merchant for 3 years. So you have to commit to paying those payments for 3 years. After that initial 3-year term is up, then they let you renew year by year. So you can just renew each and every year. And there's no issues from there. And there's no real process to renewing. You just keep doing what you're doing. You just keep working and keep billing credit cards. But the difference is if you were to cancel your merchant account, you would only be responsible to pay those minimum sort of merchant fees for the remainder of the 1 year, as opposed to when you're signing up. You may be responsible for paying those, if you decide to go out of business after 1 year and you've signed a 3-year contract, then you may have to pay those monthly payments for, those 2 years of lost revenue for that merchant account that they'd be losing out on because you canceled your account early. So just another thing to kind of look at and see, again, may be different in the country that you're in. There may be no minimum set contracts or times that you have to sign up to be a merchant. It could be completely different where you're at. So just some, experiences that I've had, using a merchant account for my lawn care business. Like I say, I think it's fantastic. I would recommend everybody to accept credit cards. It just makes things so much easier. If you're not comfortable holding on to people's credit card numbers, of course, you can then integrate payment systems into your website and stuff like that and still accept credit cards that way. But again, in that sense, the customer's still in control because you still have to wait for them to pay you with their credit card, by holding on to the credit card numbers. And there's no liability with it. You just keep the credit card numbers, you have them in a safe place. As long as you're not malicious with them, you're not using your customers' credit card numbers to go on a online shopping spree or something like that. There's really not much that can happen. You're pretty safe with that. The credit card companies have strict security policies in place to catch fraudulent activity and stuff like that. So there's not really much to worry when it comes to that. But it's just, it puts the power or the confidence in your court to be able to work and know that, hey, I can now pick up the phone in my merchant account and charge that customer right away. And I've done this as well with some clients where, I'll pull up to the client. It's a one-time job. They're calling me for a quote. Maybe it's super overgrown grass that's a few feet tall or something like that. And I tell them my policy, I won't accept credit card. So they give me their credit card number, and I'll give them a quote for the job. And something maybe doesn't feel right, or something you get sort of a feeling about the customer, sort of uneasy or uncomfortable. I'll actually go to the truck as I'm getting ready to do the job, and I'll charge their credit card first and make sure it all goes through, and then I'll go and do the job, and then that way I just give them the bill at the end and it's all done. So like I said, just some tips I wanted to share on accepting credit card payments in your lawn care business. This is, just information that's based on my experience being a credit card merchant for my lawn care business over the past 7 years of doing, credit card payments. Hopefully this can help you guys out with the start of the season here if you guys are thinking about signing up for credit cards. So that's it for this one. If you like this video, don't forget to hit that like button. Also, consider subscribing. It lets me know that you like videos and content like this, and that you want me to continue making videos and content like this. Also, just for those that are interested, if you want to support the podcast, a great way to do that is with these podcast t-shirts. They're available in my Amazon affiliate store. I'll leave a link below in the description. In there, you'll find these podcast t-shirts as well as links to, a lot of the products that I've reviewed in the past and have used in my lawn care business. Also, leave a comment below and let me know if you accept credit card payments in your lawn care business and what your experience, or if you have any tips for people watching this video regarding credit card payments in your country. So that's it for this one, guys. Here's to wishing you guys all overwhelming success and freedom in your lawn care business. Bye for now.